Hi, this is Anne, or Anne as they say in Dutch, and I'm here with day 20 of my Advent calendar project. It's a small house and a tree this time with a little chocolate in there, and the tree is already open. So the chocolate is eager to come out. I'm gonna put it aside for now. I'm gonna taste test it later, and we're gonna dive into the tip tool or insight for day 20. Let's have a look at the paper. And the paper says, your playlist and playdates matter. Unhooked, engaging, recharging. So I'm gonna quickly show it to you. So what do I mean by play? When in workshops or one-on-one coaching, I talk about play, people think typically about play activities like playing the way children do, like being creative, making paintings, doing art, decorating cakes, trying out a new cuisine, playing sports. All these things come up when people think about play. Doing all these things without using our thinking brain and using our hands or our body when we're doing sports, for example. And that is really amazing, doing all these play things. Now, when I talk about play, I'm talking about that kind of play, the quote-unquote pure play activities, but I'm also talking about anything and everything that we do. I am a big proponent of having a playful approach about things at work and outside of work, and no matter what a task. And when I say that, people typically think like, oh, play, that means that you're not serious about things, that you just do whatever. And the way I define play is not just doing whatever. You are really intentional with what you do. It's just that the way that you would go about things is different. It is unhooked from the weight of perfection or the pressure that perfection puts on our shoulders. It's really being engaged with the task, with whatever it is that you're doing, being engaged with it and driven by that internal joy to figure something out, to get better at something, to grow, to evolve, to find an answer, to improve something, to solve a problem. It's driven by that intrinsic drive for doing that rather than the pressure to do things perfectly, to improve because we are not good enough the way that we are right now, or to improve because the thing we create is not good enough and people are criticizing it. And that's a completely different way to go about things. Doing something driven by the internal joy that you get from playing with it, from growing, evolving, figuring things out, learning, bettering things, etc. Driven by that internal drive is completely different from being driven by the pressure to create a perfect result, to find the perfect answer, to improve something because you are afraid that it's not good enough. And so that's a really fear-driven, pressure-filled way to go about things. And the way that I define play and being playful about something is in both cases you are very focused on a result or an outcome that you want to create, but this is a fear-driven, pressure-filled approach, and this is a playful approach where you are figuring things out driven by the intrinsic desire and drive to want to figure it out and to do something amazing. Here you want to do something amazing because you're afraid that otherwise it's not going to be good enough, that people are going to be judging you, that you are not valuable enough. So it's a completely different world. And I would venture, I believe that what people sometimes also say is like, yeah, but if I have a playful approach about things, then I will not be creating the same results as I would do with this perfection-driven approach, let's say. And the way I look at it, and in my experience, is the complete opposite. I believe actually that the complete opposite is true. I think that the results that we create with the playful approach are at least as good, if not better, because you are working in these playful iterations, you are more open to feedback and learning, you are more open to try out new things because you're not afraid to fail. And it's by doing that that you find ways that work better. People often credit their sense of perfectionism and that fear-driven, pressure-driven way to go about things. They credit that drive for perfection as the reason why they got all the results. And I used to be the same back in the day, years and years ago. But now I would say I achieved all the things that I achieved despite my perfectionism or despite having all that weight on my shoulder. It's a very exhausting way to go about things. It's a very time-consuming way to go about things, because there's so much procrastination going on, so much rushing to get things done on time, so much overworking and over processing things, so much over analyzing things, so much ruminating about things, always questioning, is it good enough, thinking it's not good enough. So it's a very exhausting, very taxing for body, brain, and nervous system in a direct way and in an indirect way. There's less time for sleep because you are thinking about things all the time and ruminating about things. You need more working hours to get it all done because on the one hand you procrastinate and on the other hand you are perfecting things. So it's a very heavy way to go about things. The playful approach, on the other hand, goes about things in a completely different way. It's with all small micro actions and small iterations, and you're continuously wanting to verify assumptions and gather information and intel to find new tweaks and new insights to then take the next step based on that. You're going to reach out real quickly to get some input from other people as well, because 2 brains or 4 brains or however many brains know more than 1 brain. So it's a very different approach, and you're driven by the intrinsic joy to explain something in a good way or to do something in a good way. And you get to be more resourceful, creative, you are more open-minded because there's not that fear of being judged, of falling short, of failing, etc. So that's what I mean by playful. Now, why am I talking about a playlist and play dates? Let's take the example of my painting. Let's say that I'm painting, and I've had both experiences actually. Let's say that I'm painting and I'm thinking like, hey, I don't like this, the colors are not good, it's so ugly, you're not doing it right, you're not good at this, why are you wasting your time doing this? Then I'm in that space of wanting to do things perfectly, and I'm criticizing myself because everything that I do and everything that I see is lacking and not good enough. And I am failing at making a painting. And then it's not gonna be an energizing experience. I am doing something playful, quote unquote, because it's creative, playful, I label it play, but it doesn't feel like play. It feels like hard work. There's a heavy weight on my shoulder, and I will not wrap up my painting session feeling recharged and re-energized, because I've been carrying around that weight of perfection on my shoulders, and I've been very harsh on myself while making the painting. It wasn't an experience where I could really like be in the flow, completely immersed in it, engaged in it, and then leave that painting session feeling re-energized and recharged and my head like empty, no worries in my brain. And it feels really as if I emptied my brain and like I got like a boost of energy and lots of like a big breath of fresh air. So I will not have experienced that when I've been criticizing myself all the time because I wanted to create the perfect painting, and whatever it is that I'm doing, it's not working, not good enough, etc. So that would be doing play and going on a play date with yourself that is actually not play. What would be play is when I'm painting and I'm like, hey, that color yellow, I'm not feeling it there. Let's see if I add some red in there, and I overpaint this part, and ooh, I'm liking that part. And what if I do this? And what if I do that? And I'm then immersing myself in the painting, and I'm letting the painting almost emerge because I'm looking at what's working, what's not working, without criticizing myself, without linking it to my value as a person or my creative abilities. I'm just engaging with the painting and seeing what's working, what's not working, and making these small changes all the time. And going through these playful, iterative changes all the time. And then when I spend the same amount of time painting and I'm leaving that painting session, I'm gonna feel re-energized and recharged, and my brain will have been emptied from all the worries, doubts, and fears or things or to-dos that I might have been thinking of, and it will have been like a breath of fresh air because I was immersed and there was no voice in my head telling me that, hey, you should do it perfectly and you're doing it imperfectly. The standard of perfection was not present. It was just, it is what it is, and I'm noticing what is, and I'm like seeing what is working for me and what's not working and what can I change. And it's always using the data, the feedback, the information that I'm gathering from doing the painting to then inform the next step and a different color that I'm applying or the different way that I'm going about my painting. And that is what I mean by a playful approach. Then the playtime was actually real playtime, because I have been recharging and have been doing it unhooked from perfection, the fear of falling short, etc. So the same activity, the activity in and of itself of painting, is actually neutral, and then I can bring my perfection-driven perspective or my playful perspective, and the experience is gonna be different. In the first case, I am gonna feel exhausted and drained and not good about myself when I leave the painting session, dissatisfied with the painting that I made. In the second case, with a playful approach, I'm gonna feel recharged, energized, and also I have been experimenting with my painting, and I might have tried color combinations, and some will not have worked and others will have worked, and I bumped into something that was really unexpected, a happy accident that was so amazing, and then I can apply that going forward in different paintings that I'm making. And so I am boosting my skills and expertise way more by having this playful approach than by having this perfection-driven approach, where it is as if I'm always shutting the door on myself. So that is about play, having a playful approach about things, and having this playlist for yourself and these play dates. Because whenever you have such a playlist with yourself, you can see where you're at. Are you coming at it from this perfection-driven perspective or this playful perspective? And if you notice that you're coming at it from the perfection-driven perspective, you can then say like, hey, I'm gonna experiment now with having a more playful approach. Let's switch gears here, and let's not aim to do this perfect or reach for a standard of perfection. Let's just engage with the activity and tap into that inner drive to do things, to figure things out, and to do things in this playful, iterative approach. So this is a very safe, confined space it's as if you're almost having two jackets on, the jacket of perfection and a jacket of playfulness, and you can try them on both. And then when you notice like, hey, I have this jacket of perfection on, you can like take it off and then put on the jacket of playfulness, and you'll experience how different it is, both during and after, how different your energy is, how different the pleasure that you derive from the activity, how different also the result will be, and the extent to which you've been learning and expanding your skills and expertise. And so by doing it in the safe space that's not work related, that's always a great playground to play around with that. And then you can gradually bring that into your work environment as well, where you can have the same approach. And it's not doing whatever, it's being very intentional. It's always asking yourself the question, what worked, what didn't work, what did I learn here, what intel and feedback and information did I gather, what assumptions did I verify, and what does it mean for my next step. And we're working in these small iterative steps, iterating our way forward. And as I said, we will learn way more, and the results will be at least as good, if not better. All right, so, and this is an invitation, this video actually, for you to make your playlist. And what is your playlist? It's really a list that you can start, a little brain dump list with all the things that you love doing that are not work related, that you love doing, like creative things or sports or whatever it is that is intriguing to you, maybe things you've done in the past that you didn't make time for, or that you don't make time for, you can put them on the list. It can be things that are very small, it can be bigger things, it can be things you can do right away, it can be things that require a little prep, like for example, maybe baking cupcakes requires a little prep because you don't have the tools right now, but it's something that really speaks to you and you want to try it out. Like putting on your favorite music and dancing for 5 minutes or 50 minutes or 30 minutes, however long you want, in your living room, that doesn't require any prep because you have the music available and you can go right away. And everything goes, all is okay to go on your list. You make your playlist and then you go on these play dates with yourself, where you say like, hey, I'm gonna take 5 minutes, put on my favorite song and do a little dance in my living room. Or hey, I am gonna carve out half an hour to bake some cupcakes, and then I am gonna the next day take half an hour to decorate some of the cupcakes, for example. Like you can play around with it and take these little play dates from your playlist and really engage with these activities, and then just notice what happens. Are you coming at it from the perfection driven approach or from the playful driven approach? And when you notice you're coming at it from the perfection driven approach, that's a great opportunity to learn to pull on that jacket of playfulness and a playful iterative approach. All right, so that's what I wanted to share about your playlist. Playdates matter. Unhooked from perfection and unhooked from that fear of falling short, of not being good enough, of your work not being good enough, but instead engaging with the activity, driven by that internal drive to figure things out, to do things, to grow, to evolve, to improve, get better at something, expand your skills, expertise, etc., driven by that internal drive. And when you do things and engage with things in that way, typically the work that you do will be recharging, be it like real work or creative things from your playlist. It will be a recharging exercise. It will not be recharging when you do it coming from a place of being hooked to perfection or hooked to that fear of falling short and you and things not being good enough. All right, so that's what I wanted to share about your playlist and playdates, and I invite you to make your own playlist. And if there's just 3 items that go on it, that's more than enough for now. You can jot them down and you can like pick one thing that you can do maybe still today as you're watching this, or tomorrow, or over the next few days, and have a little playdate with yourself. And 5 minutes is already a great time frame to dive into the activity, and just notice already in those 5 minutes, you'll notice right away from which perspective you are coming, the perfection or the playfulness. So I invite you to do this and play around with this. And if you want to have some help or have some questions with this, or have some questions on this, don't hesitate to leave a comment or send me a message. That's in the description box. My email is in the description box. That's what I wanted to say. All right, now it is high time, because I've been talking for quite some time, I notice. Now it's high time to taste this chocolate. So the box was already almost open, so that was a quick one. Oh, it's saying Brugge, which is Bruges. It's a city, a very cozy city in Belgium, Brugge. So I guess there will be some local ingredient in there. So let's see. There's something crunchy in there. I have no idea what will be in there. It has a nut taste. Would there be some praline in there? I'm tasting some hint of speculoos as well. I'll look it up and I'll leave it here, and then again you can see whether I was right or completely wrong. And if you would bet that I would be wrong, your bet most likely will be the right bet, I guess. And that's part of the fun, right? Trying to figure it out, and then with every wrong guess, I'm like, oh dang, it was that. And so with every wrong guess, I learned something. And so this, for me, this chocolate tasting, for example, this is a real moment of play that would be on my playlist as like a creative, playful moment, real play. And at the same time, I'm having this playful approach about it. I'm not worried about getting it wrong. I am genuinely interested in what the tastes are like. And I'm genuinely putting my best guess out there, and then I'm always intrigued and curious about what the real ingredients are. I was like, wow, oh yeah, it was that. And so it's a real playful play experience for me to do this chocolate taste testing. And this is also something that could go on your playlist. If there's chocolates, if you're interested in chocolates, you can get some of these chocolates as well and do some taste testing on your own. And that in and of itself would not even take 5 minutes. It would just be like a daily 1-minute thing. And you can have a playful approach about that. So yeah, that's already something to go on your playlist. All right, that was it for today. See you tomorrow.